Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming back. I know it's a beautiful day outside. It's hard to come back into a somewhat dark and contemplative room. For those of you who haven't met, I'm Michael Bracey. I'm Policy Director of the Future Music Coalition. We've had a great day so far, and we're really, really excited about the afternoon's programming and just appreciate you sticking with us. As many of you know, for the last 3 or 4 years, Future Music Coalition has been working with a number of partners, including Air Traffic Control and Sweet Home New Orleans, to take groups of artists down to New Orleans to talk about activism, to talk about policy work, and to talk about what needs to happen to rebuild the New Orleans music community and try to support that community. It really has been some of the most important and valuable work that we've done, and it's been enormously fulfilling for me personally, and I think for all of our staff and our whole team. Through that process, we've been able to meet a number of really remarkable people, but one of my personal favorite people is Craig Klein. Craig is a co-leader of a band called Bonorama. We are incredibly excited to present tonight Bonorama show with special guests at the Rock and Roll Hotel as a fundraiser for Sweet Home New Orleans, and hope everybody here is able to join us. And tomorrow you're also going to hear Craig on a discussion about the status of the New Orleans music community. But I also wanted Craig to, he's been very interested, engaged in a lot of the policy issues that we work with, and we asked him if he wouldn't mind joining us today to introduce our next keynote speaker. So everybody, Craig Klein.
Thank you. Well, like Michael said, my name is Craig Klein. I'm from New Orleans, and I play in a band called Bonorama, and I'm very much involved in the local music scene where I live. This is also a trombone. It's my security blanket. In New Orleans, we've obviously been through a lot, and it's great to know that people are thinking of us, lending a hand and celebrating what New Orleans brings to American culture. But even before Katrina, that culture was endangered. Over the years, a lot of the radio stations that played our kind of music simply disappeared. On the other hand, we're finding new ways to keep the New Orleans spirit alive. These days, musicians are using the internet to reach fans and make this thing truly global. My band and I have been paying close attention to issues like net neutrality, media ownership, and non-commercial radio. So when we heard about the new leadership at the FCC, we got excited. The story is that the FCC chairman, Julius Genachowski, has some real vision, ideas, and plenty of optimism for the future, kind of like us, and hopefully like you all too. So I'm delighted to be here to introduce the chairman, but I really do my best speaking through music. So I figured I'd invite a few of my members of Bonorama up here to give him an authentic New Orleans-style welcome. So if you don't mind, here's a little something to honor Chairman Genachowski.
Bonorama, these guys are great, working to rebuild New Orleans. These are small businesses creating jobs for New Orleans, working to preserve an important part of our culture, taking a stand for creativity. All these guys deserve a big round of applause. I understand you heard earlier today from Senator Franken, too. Couldn't be happier to welcome Al Franken to Washington. I salute his service and his leadership, and it means a lot that he took the time to be here to speak with you today. Thank you also to Gene Cook, the Interim Executive Director of the Future of Music Coalition, and Michael Bracey, the Political Director of the Coalition. And I'm not sure it's between Michael and Craig who had the idea for the intro, but I congratulate them both. I'm pleased for the invitation to be here today, and I thank and congratulate the stellar work that they all do for the musicians through this organization. Now, I hope no one expects me to sing my remarks or whip out a harmonica like former FCC Commissioner Jonathan Adelstein. It's good to have that skill. And, though I can't sing and my guitar playing days are behind me, I do want to discuss something that's been described as music to the ears of many artists and independent creative people across the country, and that's the preservation of the free and open internet. Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, invoked an artistic metaphor, creative metaphor, when describing the essential openness of the web. He called it a blank canvas, where anyone could paint their ideas and pursue their inspiration without obtaining prior permission from anybody to do so. I believe we must keep the internet open for the creativity and innovation that is just around the corner, for the inventors, writers, musicians, and artists in basements, dorm rooms, garages. Music really does bring out the creativity in people. I'd like to share with you a riff on net neutrality developed by one of my staff members, a big Bruce Springsteen fan, as you'll see. I'm not sure that he would want me to do this in front of any other audience. Now, he wasn't sure where exactly the boss stands on net neutrality, but believes that everywhere from the streets of Philadelphia to my hometown, every Bobby Jean and every Jersey girl should be counting on the internet remaining free and open, not counting on a miracle. They should count on the rising of millions of voices to beat back any darkness on the edge of town, or broadband badlands that could threaten limited choice and create potential bottlenecks, bottlenecks not being in one of the songs. The people who built the internet were working on more than a computer network. They were working on a dream. It was a network that was born to run in a land of open protocols. I got a great staff. The internet is more than an information highway. It is a telecom thunder road. That should be someone's. Telecom thunder road of wonderfully chaotic creativity, and it will be a lonesome day if that is ever lost. But hold on. Janie, don't you lose heart, because the FCC will be taking up open internet rules in the near future. I'm grateful for the multitude of artists, including musicians, songwriters, and other creative voices who are coming forward to say they have a hungry heart for a free and open internet, who will shout, "No surrender" when it is threatened. Well, that exhausts the Springsteen song title reference, except to say that the policy fight over net neutrality and an open internet will be a jungle land. And everyone should be involved in our public FCC process. Open internet rules will be considered as part of a multi-month rulemaking process that the Commission will begin later this month. You can find information, you can find ways to participate, you can participate at www.openinternet.gov. Now, why is the adoption of fair rules of the road, net neutrality rules, so important? Well, the artists, songwriters, and independent producers in the music industry know better than most. For example, at a recent public workshop held at the FCC in connection with our broadband proceeding, we heard Alex Shapiro, who discussed how the internet allows her to manage her career even from her home in rural Washington state. Let me read to you from her testimony, because it's telling. My name is Alex Shapiro, and I'm a composer. My use of the internet has significantly shaped the evolution of my career and has allowed me to reach audiences around the world, obtain commissions, and sell recordings and scores, all from a fairly isolated outpost on a bridgeless island in Washington state. And that contains an essential point. You don't have to be Bruce Springsteen to reach your audience on the internet. You can be an independent artist on an island, whether literal, like Alex, or musical, and reach everyone who has a connection to the net. With a free and open internet, you don't have to have big-time star power leverage over record labels, publishing companies, commercial radio stations, or particular retailers to get your music to the public. Instead, in today's broadband world, the artists themselves can be self-empowering. They are free to connect with audiences, paying customers, free customers if they want, and musical social networks in ways previously unimaginable. Most importantly, net neutrality permits independent artists and independent labels to compete on an equal technological playing field with the biggest companies in the space. That's the American way, letting internet users, the broadest group possible of ordinary people, decide who wins and who loses. I want to emphasize that none of the principles I'm proposing the Commission adopt will constrain efforts to ensure a safe, secure, and spam-free internet experience or to enforce the law on the internet. For instance, I believe that the enforcement of copyright and the obligations of network openness can and must coexist. And I'm encouraged that technologists and entrepreneurs in the music industry are exploring ways to implement legal licensed platforms for music. There's some wonderful examples of artists and independent labels using the internet to earn a living, make money, and maintain artistic control over their careers and enterprises. Many of you probably know Erin McQuan, who's been doing live webcast concerts from her house in rural Massachusetts as a way of raising money to produce her new album. We've seen the success of independent labels, too. Because of the free and open internet, Merge Records has been able to have dynamic top 10 acts, such as Arcade Fire and Spoon, without relying upon commercial radio play. So we have much to work on together to preserve the free and open internet. But freedom and openness of the internet is not enough for the millions of Americans who don't have access to high-speed internet. And so I want to emphasize for you the importance of the FCC's work on broadband. As part of the Recovery Act, Congress and the President tasked the FCC with developing a national broadband strategy for our country. That strategy, that plan, is due in February. Achieving universal broadband access, increasing the adoption, the rates of broadband use, putting broadband to work on the major challenges facing our country, like healthcare, education, clean energy, is essential to this country's future. Simply put, broadband is the major infrastructure challenge of our generation. It's our platform. It will be our kids' platform for economic growth, technological innovation, and individual opportunity. It's increasingly vital for everybody to be part of a connected broadband nation. Just as an example, right now, more than 75% of Fortune 500 companies only list their job postings online. Think about what that means in an economy like ours with the unemployment rate where it is. If you want to find one of these jobs, you've got to have access to the internet. Earlier this year, a survey of 7,500 people by the Country Music Industry's trade organization revealed a disconcerting fact. Only 50% of core country fans have internet access at home. For country artists, that means half of their market is currently unreachable online. Well, the National Broadband Strategy has as its goal developing a plan for ubiquitous broadband access in the United States in a way that everyone can participate in the broadband revolution. We welcome everyone's participation in the process of developing this plan. You can find out more at www.broadband.gov. I want to salute the many artists who have already signed up publicly to lend their voice in support of net neutrality, including artists from REM, Pearl Jam, OK Go, Wilco, many, many more. Thank you. I want to emphasize that I intend to work collaboratively with all of my commission colleagues, Commissioner Copps, McDowell, Clyburn, and Baker. Each brings valuable perspectives to these endeavors. We will be running an open, fact-based proceeding where we will be tackling a number of hard questions that relate to the future of the internet. I look forward to the insights and input of my colleagues on the Commission and of everyone who can participate in the FCC process. None of us can imagine what tomorrow's innovators will bring into being. But if we follow through in protecting and preserving a free and open internet, if we put in place a real game plan for the country to achieve universal broadband, we can be confident that the dreamers nobody's ever heard of, who need an open platform to bring their vision to life, the grad student in a lab today, the group of kids in a college dorm, the inventor in the proverbial garage, will each have a realistic shot at seeing their dreams become reality. And that's worth singing about. So thank you for inviting me. I'm pleased to be here, and I encourage you to participate in the FCC's processes, www.fcc.gov, broadband.gov, or openinternet.gov. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Let's go ahead and ask the next panel, if you don't mind, to come on up, and we'll keep this train running.